This evening on my workbench, I've got a little remote controlled relay board that is available on places like Amazon and elsewhere. What this is for is it allows you to have this little remote control that it comes with, and it has an IR receiver, it's infrared, and the whole idea is to turn this relay on or off so you could switch something remotely. Now, why am I looking at this evening? Well, I got a request from someone who had seen my Go Dog Go dog ball thrower and wondering if they could get it to work with a eye gaze device. In their case, they were running a smart box with Grid 3 with an eye gaze camera on it. And the smart box has IR output and it has a learning mode. So I thought, oh, that would be a good way to do it. So that this person does not have switch access, but they do have eye gaze access, so they could trigger it through infrared. And this seemed like a inexpensive way of going at it. The more expensive way would probably be Z-Wave. That's a whole nother story. But so let's take a look at this. This is about I think I paid about $12 or $13 on Amazon, and it runs off 5 volts. And right now I have my bench supply tied into it, providing it 5 volts. And on the standby, it's so it's. Let me write this down for you so everybody knows. The it's 5 volts. And let me get a different marker. The standby amperage is 5 milliamps, so it's not drawing too much. I could have this connected to a battery setup, and it's very straightforward. Out of the box, when you press the on button, it clicks on momentarily, and the off button does absolutely nothing. The And the other thing with the on is it will not stay active if you hold it down. So it doesn't matter how long you hold it down, it's just going to do the one click through like that. For the purposes of switch control, this is actually a good thing because I want it to just momentarily trigger the ball thing. I don't want it to keep re-triggering it. So that's pretty handy. Now, if you wanted to have it as latching, you have this jumper right here which comes out. Take out the little jumper, and now it's latching mode. So press once for on, once for off. And again, the off button on the little included remote doesn't do anything. Again, for this purpose, that's okay because a lot of these folks will just have access to one switch at a time, and having the toggle between two switches can be a drag. So having one go on and then the same one go off can be very helpful for folks. So those are good things. What I found when I was running the supply, and again, this is a benefit of having a bench supply with voltage limits and current limits, especially current limits, because you could dial down the current real low. So A, to avoid blowing things up, and B, to see kind of what thresholds are for how much power this actually takes. Because whenever you start talking about putting things under battery power, you got to really pay attention to draw. And what I found was that this unit, when it is powered on, when it's energizing the relay, it is using 80 milliamps, which is actually a pretty reasonable number because you're driving a magnetic coil inside here, so you do have some draw. It will work down below that. Like originally, I had it all the way down to about 50 milliamps, and it would still work. The difference would be you'd start seeing the typical power issues. The LEDs would start dimming, and it just wasn't as snappy action. So I would recommend supplying it with a 80 milliamps is safe and what it's happiest with, but it can go lower if you need to. But I'm going to be providing it 5 volts or 6 volts or whatever. Let's see what else about this thing. It's got the little green LED that goes on when it's engaged, which is handy. Oh, the other thing, allegedly, and I have not tried this, but allegedly, this little button here is to do learning mode. So you can, in theory, teach this thing a different remote to use. So that's kind of cool. If you had, now it's only going to work with kind of standard remotes. It won't work with like those notorious air conditioner remotes, which use different protocols. But if you're using a standard 38 kilohertz IR remote sort of thing, like you'd have on an older TV or whatever, it in theory will learn that code too. But I have not tried it because I didn't really want to try it, because in this the purpose of this is the iGaze user is going to have to program the IR. So you have to program the smart box to do its thing. And so what they'll do is they'll have the remote and they'll train it with this remote. So they'll go into their training mode, they'll say train it, they'll hit this button, it'll teach the iGaze device what's going on, and you're good to go in theory. So I think that this is going to work out well for converting. The only concern is that it is IR, so I want to do some testing outside to see what sort of the range is, because if this is a dog thrower, you're going to be outside pitching a tennis ball to a dog. So I got to check to see how the range is on that. It may not be great, but it's certainly easier and less expensive than digging into other possible solutions. And when I convert it, basically the relay output is going to be connected to the push button switch on the GoDogGo and be good to go. I'll probably package this in an enclosure, probably use some AA batteries to power this, and there we go. So initially, if you are looking for a little relay that is triggered either momentary or latching with an infrared remote, with the possibility of programming it with another remote, it's so far so good. So I hope to move forward with this. Thanks for watching.